So please, get involved, participate, use your voice, ask the hard questions.
Alexandra Eala's dream run continues.
What if I told you that the most powerful moment at the Madrid Open had nothing to do with a winner's trophy? What if I told you it happened in the stands, not on the court? And what if I told you it involved one of the most respected women in all of Filipino television, standing up, over and over again, unable to sit still, unable to stop clapping, because a 20-year-old girl from Quezon City was making history in real time? Stay with me because this story is going to hit you somewhere deep, and I promise you, by the end of it, you will understand why an entire country of over 100 million people has completely lost its mind over a left-handed tennis player who barely anyone outside the Philippines knew existed just 18 months ago. Her name is Alexandra Eala. And right now, she is becoming something the Philippines has never had before. Let's start with the moment that broke the internet across the archipelago, because you need to feel the weight of it. Jessica Soho, if you don't know the name, is not just a journalist. She is an institution. She has interviewed presidents. She has covered wars, disasters, corruption scandals, and national crises. She is the kind of figure in Philippine media that when she speaks, people listen. Not because they have to, because they trust her completely. And there she was, courtside in Madrid, not reporting, not broadcasting, not working. Just watching. Just being Filipino. And she could not stop standing up to applaud a 20-year-old girl grinding through a clay court battle under the Spanish sun. She said it out loud and she meant every syllable. She said, even if she doesn't win the title, she is still the champion of the Philippines. And when Jessica Soho says something like that, it doesn't just trend. It echoes. Now here is the question I want you to sit with for a second. Why does that moment matter so much? Why does it carry weight beyond a celebrity showing up courtside? Because Jessica Soho doesn't do things for optics. She's been in this industry too long for that. When she stands up and applauds, when she tells a young athlete to stay mentally strong, when she speaks to her not as a fan seeking a selfie but as someone who genuinely believes in what is being built, that is not performance. That is recognition. And there is a reason Eala's shots reportedly became more powerful after that conversation. There is a reason her presence on court shifted. Because sometimes what an athlete needs more than a perfect backhand is proof that their country sees them. Really sees them. But wait, because we are just getting started. Let me take you back to where all of this actually began, because if you don't understand the Miami Miracle, you don't understand Alexandra Eala. At the start of 2025, Eala was ranked well outside the top 100 in the world. She had a reputation, She had won the US Open Junior title back in 2022. She had spent years grinding through ITF circuit tournaments in front of crowds that sometimes numbered in the dozens. She had left home at 13 years old, packed her bags, said goodbye to her family in Quezon City, and moved to Mallorca, Spain to train at the Rafa Nadal Academy. For years, she was the promising kid. The one people said watch out for. But promising only takes you so far. At some point you have to deliver. And then came the 2025 Miami Open, and everything changed in 1 week that no Filipino tennis fan will ever forget as long as they live. She walked into that draw as a wild card. Do you understand what that means? She was not seeded. She was not expected. She was not supposed to be there causing problems. She was supposed to show up, get a couple of decent matches in, maybe beat someone ranked in the 80s, and go home having gained some experience. Instead, she beat Madison Keys, ranked 5th in the world. Clinical. Then, almost as if she hadn't just done something extraordinary, she turned around and beat IGA Swiatek, the number 2 player on the entire planet, a multiple Grand Slam champion, back-to-back, in the same tournament. As a wild card, she made the semifinal of a WTA 1000 event and became the first Filipino in history to reach that stage. The Philippines did not just celebrate. The Philippines erupted. And it has not calmed down since. Here is the thing about what happened next that most people outside the Philippines don't fully appreciate. That Miami run didn't just change Eala's ranking. It changed what was possible. It changed the conversation about Filipino athletes in global sport. It changed what young girls holding a tennis racket for the first time in Manila or Cebu or Davao believed they could become. She finished 2025 ranked at a career high of number 50 in the world. She reached her first WTA Tour final at Eastbourne. She won her first WTA 125 title in Guadalajara. She appeared on the cover of Vogue Philippines. Commentators across the sport started calling her the female Manny Pacquiao. And in the Philippines, there is no heavier statement than that. That comparison does not get made lightly. That comparison means you have crossed over from athlete to symbol, from player to phenomenon. And now we are in 2026. And the question everyone is asking, the question I want to dig into right now, is this. Can she handle what comes next? Because this is where the story gets genuinely complicated and genuinely human. Because Alexandra Eala is not a finished masterpiece. She is a work in progress. Messy and brilliant and evolving all at the same time. And the clay season in 2026 is testing her in ways that rankings and highlights don't fully capture. The Spanish sun is brutal. The red dirt has no mercy. And the expectation that now follows her everywhere she goes, the Filipino flags in the stands, the traffic jams outside her courts at the Australian Open, the weight of being the first and the best and the symbol, all of that comes with her onto every court she steps on. And managing that weight at 20 years old is something most of us will never fully understand. Cecil Mami, the Philippine tennis legend on his way to induction into the Philippine Sports Hall of Fame, put it in a way that stuck with me. He talked about her fight, her identity, her ability to stay inside a match when lesser players would fold under the pressure. And then he said something that I keep coming back to. He said the pressure she carries is manageable. The kind that makes a player better over time rather than breaking them. He said it with complete confidence. And when you have seen what this girl has already survived, the years away from home, the grinding ITF circuit obscurity, the sacrifices her family made, the leap of faith at 13 years old, you start to believe him. But here is what I need you to understand about Madrid specifically, because this is where the story goes from inspiring to extraordinary. Eala came into the Mutua Madrid Open ranked 44th in the world in singles. 44th. 12 months earlier that would have seemed like a fantasy. She was drawn against Anastasia Pavlyuchenkova in the round of 128. A seasoned Grand Slam finalist. A player who has competed at the very highest levels for over a decade. And Eala took her apart. 6-3, 6-3. Not a grind. Not a survival. A statement. The kind of win that echoes through a draw and puts every other player on notice. She was not just playing well. She was playing with a certainty that is very difficult to manufacture. And then, just when you thought the singles story was compelling enough, the doubles partnership enters the picture and completely takes over the narrative. Eala's doubles partner in Madrid is Zeynep Sönmez of Turkey. And I need you to understand how this partnership came to exist, because it is one of the most genuinely heartwarming stories in professional tennis right now. These two did not link up because a coaching staff matched them tactically. They did not sign on together for strategic reasons. They met at an ITF tournament in France in 2023, clicked immediately as people, became close friends, and eventually decided to team up on the doubles circuit because they genuinely enjoy playing alongside each other. In a world where professional tennis is extraordinarily competitive and guarded and solitary, that kind of friendship is rare. That kind of trust is rare. And here is the moment that tells you everything about who they are. At the Abu Dhabi Open earlier in 2026, they were drawn to play each other in singles. Best friend against best friend, across the net, no mercy. The night before the match they sat down together and had a 4-hour dinner. Not a quick pasta. Not a nervous pre-match meal. A 4-hour dinner between two people who knew exactly what was coming the next morning. Eala won the match. But what that dinner says about both of them, about their character, about the kind of athletes and human beings they are, says more than any scoreline ever could. So when they walked out together at the Kaja Magica for their round of 32 doubles match against Chan Haoqing and Fanny Staller, two experienced doubles specialists with high rankings and decades of combined experience between them, nobody gave the Filipino-Turkish pairing much of a chance on paper. Except they went out and won. They went down 2-0 in the first set, wobbled slightly, found each other, found their rhythm, and then went on a 6-game tear that completely flipped the match. They closed it out comfortably and advanced. And the crowd watching that match understood they were seeing something genuine. Not just tactics. Not just skill. Chemistry. The kind that takes years to build and cannot be faked. The clay season is far from finished. Next up is the Catalonia Open in La Bisbal d'Empordà, where Eala enters as the 6th seed in a WTA 125 Challenger event. Then comes the Italian Open, then Parma, and then the moment that every single tennis fan in the Philippines is counting down toward. Roland Garros. Paris. The French Open. The most emotionally loaded, most historically significant Grand Slam on the calendar. The tournament where clay court legends are born or broken. And Alexandra Eala will be standing on that red Parisian dirt representing not just herself but every Filipino who has ever looked at a tennis court and quietly wondered whether someone like them could ever truly belong there. She belongs there. She proved that in Miami. She proves it every single time she walks onto a court and 40% of the crowd is waving a Philippine flag. And because of her, the inaugural Philippine Women's Open, the first WTA-sanctioned tournament ever held on Filipino soil, happened in January 2026. She made that possible. She did not just change her ranking. She changed the infrastructure of the sport in her own country. So when Jessica Soho stands up courtside in Madrid and applauds, when she says this young woman is already the champion of the Philippines with or without the title, she is not being sentimental. She is being precise. Because the real trophies in this story are not made of gold. They are the young girls picking up a racket for the first time in Manila because they saw someone who looks like them refuse to back down. They are the Filipino flags in the stands at Stuttgart and Madrid and Melbourne. They are the traffic jams outside an Australian Open court. They are the courts filling up back home. They are the proof that the path exists, that the door is open, and that a 20-year-old from Quezon City kicked it wide open for everyone who comes after her. She is 20 years old. This story has barely begun. And we will be right here for every single chapter of it. If this gave you chills, hit the like button right now and drop a comment below telling me how you think Eala's clay season shapes up heading into Roland Garros. Subscribe to Champions Tennis because we are covering every twist, every triumph, and every hard lesson on this journey. The Philippines has a champion. Her name is Alexandra Eala. And the world is only just beginning to understand exactly how special she truly is.